It's very bizarre just how much retconning that's going on with the Tim Story Fantastic Four films and just rose tinted glasses people have the perception of these movies. Because I remember when these movies came out, people despised these films. People were saying, like, these are really bad adaptations of the Fantastic Four. And then all of a sudden, when this movie comes, people are saying, like, those movies are better than this one. I'm like, I thoroughly disagree for all the reasons that I brought up before. The complete lack of chemistry between Reed and Sue. Jessica Alba with just so much white pancake makeup on her face, blue lifeless eyes. Yeah, I mean, the only good thing about it being Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis, but there's so much about this film I don't understand. I don't understand when people are like, no, this is great. So I just got done doing a review and spoiler review for the Fantastic Four First Steps. Walked away from the movie, really enjoying it. It's great across the board for a variety of reasons. Wonderful retro 1960s aesthetic. Love that. I think the performances across the board were great. Loved how they handled Galactus and the Silver Surfer. It's just wonderful that we have finally a truly great cinematic adaptation of the Fantastic Four after suffering for 30 years in which we did not have a great cinematic adaptation of the Fantastic Four. And at this point, having seen First Steps, I have now seen all 5 Fantastic Four movies. And now I can provide you guys with the definitive ranking of the Fantastic Four films. It is the definitive ranking. Although you guys can share your opinions, how you would rank them as well. I'm actually very curious to see how you would rank these movies. But starting at the bottom, chat, we're gonna go from worst all the way to best. And the worst one, in my opinion, I think a lot of people would list this as the worst one, is Fan Four Stick. I mean, people have been making fun of the title for years now. It's hilarious. I mean, when the trailers were first coming out and we saw the logo, how can you not make fun of it? But yeah, Josh Trank's much maligned 2015 adaptation of the Fantastic Four. Technically, it was the third attempt to reboot the franchise. This movie is a mess across the board. I mean, one, Josh Trank was just such an odd choice to direct this film, coming off of Chronicle, which I really enjoy. It's actually a really good found footage film within the superhero genre, no doubt about that. But I mean, he would tell you he was no fan of the Fantastic Four, the comics, their stories, or their characters, and just his overall approach to this movie. It's so wrong. Instead of being about a family, a earnest, wholesome family of scientists and adventurers, instead they're like these high school students or 20-year-old college somethings, and they create this, device that sends them to this other world where they get these powers, and it becomes more of a David Cronenberg body horror film. It's just a very bizarre premise. Everyone in this film comes across as miscast. Like Miles Teller, who's supposed to be like 17, even though he looks 35 and he's still doing high school projects in high school. You have Jamie Bell, who looks like he's 40 in this movie. Kate Mara, who I don't even know is capable of human emotion anymore, especially if you watch this film. Michael B. Jordan, woefully cast as Johnny Storm. Toby Kebbell, who's most of his scenes were just completely cut out of this film, completely edited out, and he's just a shadow of what Doom is. They make him more of an environmental guy. It's just a boring slog of a movie. There's no color. There's no fucking color in the movie. Like the predominant colors are black, gray, and blue. It has none of the sense of adventure or wonder or wholesomeness that are just the foundational elements of the Fantastic Four. That's why this movie is so bad. It completely disregards the foundational elements that have defined the characters for nearly 7 decades now, for nearly 70 years. And it's made by a person that actively resents the property, who apparently was just a menace. I mean, him and 20th Century Fox could not agree on everything. They certainly took away the film from him. and allegedly had Simon Kinberg come in there and reshoot portions of this film. But apparently, like, Josh Trank was getting in fights with the crew, with the cast. He would isolate himself in his trailer for days on end, which, you know, delayed shooting. I mean, infamously, you know, trash talked the film before it came out, saying, like, I had a good Fantastic Four movie before the studio took away from him, which I doubt he had. I doubt he had that one. Yeah, this thing, everyone knew from when we first saw the first trailers especially that, oh, this thing's going to die. And die it did. I think it was out in theaters for like maybe like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and I think like its total box office was like under $60 million like worldwide. Catastrophic failure. And eventually, of course, you know, the film rights were then, you know, passed on to Marvel, who thankfully gave us a very good Fantastic Four film, which was Fantastic Four First Steps. But yeah, I think Fan Four Stick is definitely the worst of the Fantastic Four films, no question about it. One of the worst superhero movies of all time. I mean, the idea to have Ben Grimm's The Thing's, you know, catchphrase, it's clobbering time, as he punches a monster or Doctor Doom in the face, to come from child abuse, to come from Chet Hanks wailing on him when he was a little kid and saying it's clobber. It's just utterly bizarre. I don't know what the thinking was, and quite frankly, no one was thinking with this movie. It's an abomination of genre filmmaking. And thankfully, it does get a little bit better from here. At number 4, I have Fantastic Four, the first of the Tim Story adaptations released in 2005. Essentially, a more cotton candy, you know, version, certainly compared to a Fan Four Stick. Outside of Chris Evans' performance as Johnny Storm, and even though I think they make him too much of an idiot in this movie, and Michael Chiklis as the Thing, as Ben Grimm, I think most of this movie is a complete mess. None of the spectacle moments, none of like the big action sequences really land for me at all. Has none of the spectacle that I would expect from a Fantastic Four adaptation, certainly from the comics and things. And you have some people that are just woefully underwritten and I think woefully miscast. I hate the way they write Reed in this movie, played by Ioan Grufford. I never know how to say his name correctly. He's got like a Celtic name or a Welsh name or something. There's a bunch of consonants in there. And I hate how they have him play Reed like he's just a fucking loser and he's just a stereotypical nerd who has no idea how to talk to women. That is always, and for whatever reason, it just carried through all the way up to like Miles Teller's version of the character. Really just like how they display him. Jessica Alba, again, she's not a good actress, not a good actress in any capacity. I don't think she's even capable of acting. For whatever reason, they have, well, I know the reason, because, you know, Sue typically is white and Jessica Alba is not white. And so they just have like this weird, bizarre white pancake makeup on her face. And they just gave her these really hideous blue contact lenses and just make her look like a fucking ghoul. But the other thing that really bothers me about his performance is like, well, you know, Jessica Alba, she's hot, so her powers is she can't control invisibility, and so she's just naked all the time. And so there's like several jokes where they just lean into that. I just think it's very fucking embarrassing. And I know Julian McMahon just recently passed away, and you know, of course, he was famously known for Nip Tuck, but also for playing Doctor Doom. And again, not his fault, but I just feel like his Doctor Doom is really underwritten and does not come across as intimidating or interesting. And it's like Doctor Doom is like one of the best villains of the Marvel Universe. How could you mess up in your adaptation of him? That's the other thing I forgot to mention. Like Toby Kebbell's Doctor Doom is terrible. So yeah, 2005 Fantastic Four, not very good for all the reasons I provided. Although it gets a little bit better of its sequel, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I mean, I still feel like Chris Evans as Johnny and Michael Chiklis as Ben are pretty solid, or pretty good in the movie. Absolutely no chemistry whatsoever between Ioan Grufford and Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba still incapable of actually acting in any capacity. Although I will say this. You do have the introduction of the Silver Surfer, mocap by Doug Jones, with the voice provided by Lawrence Fishburne. Easily the best element of either of these two movies. Actually, a really good adaptation of the Norrin Rad Fantastic Four. I love that take on the character. How they handle Galactus is embarrassing. It's infamous now, where instead of doing like we most recently saw in Fantastic Four First Steps, where it's like just he's a giant kaiju, just lean into that. Instead, 20th Century Fox, Tom Robbins like, no, people don't like kaiju. They don't like giant monsters. Make him a cloud. He's a giant fart cloud. So incredibly lame. Dr. Doom also just feels like an afterthought in this film. They bring him back, and he wants the Silver Surfer's powers. It's like, okay, that's fine. It's a little bit better than the 2005 film, but still fails to capture what makes the Fantastic Four so good. It fails to make them feel like a family. You know, they still don't. Like, so many of them are just so antagonistic towards each other, or they just lack any chemistry, and that's really on full display between Reed and Sue in this movie. Who are actually, the movie starts with them getting married. It's like, why would these two people get married? They have nothing in common. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's at number 3. And number 2, probably the most controversial thing I'm going to have on this list, probably a hot take, but I don't give a shit. I think it's the second best Fantastic Four movie. At number 2, I have the unreleased Fantastic Four film, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. This movie was solely created so one of the producers of this film could just retain the rights to the Fantastic Four. That was it. They had no intention of actually releasing this. Obviously, eventually was released. It was pirated. It's widely available online for free on YouTube, and many clips, many scenes, all that. And listen, this movie is cheap. It was only made for $1 million. Not enough to make a Fantastic Four movie. It's not written all that well in many points. You have some really bad acting in it. You know, not great production values, but compared to all these other movies, it does at least try to respect the foundational elements of the Fantastic Four, you know, of this weird family. Them going off on these crazy adventures, battling, whether it be, you know, Victor Von Doom or the Mole Man, in this case called the Jeweler, essentially a trash goblin who just likes jewels. And it has these moments that are both intentionally funny and unintentionally funny. Like Dr. Doom in this, easily the best adaptation of Dr. Doom we've gotten yet. He's hilarious. I love how so much he talks of his hand. One, how he's just so handsy with Reed when they're initially in college. You know, it's like a lot of homoerotic tension between Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom, which, you know, I think there always has been in the comics. And then when he's, you know, horrifically deformed, and then he's in his suit and he's constantly talking with his hands. He has so many great scenes where like one of my favorite scenes is where, you know, he essentially captures the Fantastic Four, has them in Latveria in his castle, and he's like, and I will destroy you, Reed, and your friends, your family, and I will leave that to my henchmen, and I will be back in a minute. And like all his henchmen, and of course the Fantastic Four defeat them, and Doom comes back and he's like, and now you, where'd they go? Hello, like that was great. And when at one point where there's a whole other subplot where the Mole Man, the jeweler, kidnaps the blind woman that eventually falls in love with Ben Grimm, and you know, Dr. Doom invades the Mole Man's lair because he's after like the crystal that he needs for his evil super laser, and the Mole Man's like, I have this woman hostage, and Doom goes over, he's like, so? He's like, I'll kill her. So it's like stuff like that. It's like, that's really, really funny. I appreciate that. Also, the thing for what they had with the suit, it doesn't look too bad. Kind of, it's very reminiscent of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look from the 90s, right? Kind of, I mean, they were kind of coming around the same time. So, yeah, I mean, people, you could say, is this movie bad? Sure. You know? It's unintentionally funny, yeah. But compared to the other films, it at least fucking tries. It at least tries to get the foundational elements of the Fantastic Four right. And maybe it doesn't get it all right, but man, it does a better job than any of the other movies that I just mentioned. But at number 1, it comes as no surprise to anybody. Number 1, I have the Fantastic Four First Steps. Finally, the Fantastic Four movie that I think gets these characters right, featuring a wonderful 1960s retrofuturistic aesthetic. taken right from the comics, from those original Jack Kirby comics. It's so timeless. It's so gorgeous. Love the production design. A lived-in world where the Fantastic Four have been established for a long time, so you don't have to fucking regurgitate the origin over and over and over again like they have for all these other movies. The chemistry between the actors, I think, is fantastic. They feel like a family. From Pedro Pascal to Vanessa Kirby to Joseph Quinn to Evan Moss-Baccarat, who again played Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, respectively. Loved all that. The introduction of Shia LaBeouf, Silver Surfer, and Ralph Ineson's Galactus, I think, are great, are very intimidating. Some really cool spectacle sequences in this movie, chase sequences in space. Not only are the Fantastic Four like superheroes, but they're scientists, they're explorers, they're adventurers, and the movie taps into that and showcases that in a great way. And so much of the plot revolving around just protecting their newest member, Franklin, this little baby, who might have this incredible power. It's great. I have some criticisms of it. I wish they did more with Ben Grimm, the Thing, in the film. I feel like there's stuff that's been exercised, cut out of the movie. I would have liked more of that. Stuff with Red Ghost and Super Apes. Like, yeah, I want to spend more time in this world, And I like that so much of this film is conversational. It's more of a science fiction family drama than a superhero film, and I really like that. It just felt very comfortable with itself, but I wanted more of it, and I guess that's the best thing. It leaves you wanting even more. But what I have, I think, is very good, and it's certainly one of my favorite Marvel movies in the last few years, and it's certainly the best Fantastic Four film by far. But that's how I would definitively rank the Fantastic Four movies. What about you guys? What's your ranking of the 5 Fantastic Four films? You're thinking like, Chris, that's a pretty good list. Or thinking like, maybe mix and match a couple things. You're like, Chris, that's not true. The best one is Fan Four Stick, obviously. Josh Trank, people don't understand his vision. He had the vision. Ignore everything that was great about the Fantastic Four and just do a body horror film. What do you guys think? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this list, chat. Let's see. Let's see here. Fantastic Four, the first episode, and the rest. Yeah, pretty much. You saw Fan Four Stick 9? No, you didn't, King. You're trolling me. You can't. You're responsible for half of the film's box office. You did not see this movie 9 times. I don't believe you at all. You're trolling me. Hamilton, yes, you're good. You're good. No more spoilers. Yeah, come on. You didn't like the things catches came from Child Abuse? I was not a fan of that. It's a dark movie. Yeah, the color palette for a Fan Four Stick is wretched. It's so wretched. Even the post. Look at the poster. I'm gonna look at this fucking poster. Look out! It's not even blue. It's black. It's black and gray. It's terrible. Oh man. So I guess Fan Four Stick is the last 100%. I don't even remember what happens in this movie to criticize it. Yeah, I'm the only one who enjoys it. Really, King? Man, what did you like about this movie? What did you like? I'm curious. If you're not trolling me. He was gonna do a Star Wars movie after. Yeah, I know he's gonna do Boba Fett, but then he went to do Capone. did the Capone biopic we never wanted to see, where he shits himself for 2.5 hours. I'm convinced Josh Trank peaked of Chronicle 100%. It was his first movie. Best thing he did was he gave us Michael B. Jordan. Oh, Michael B. Jordan was already around before then, though. Michael B. Jordan was already doing stuff, right? He was in The Wire and things. What? That's the Tim Story one's a classic. Man, there is some weird rose-tinted glasses with the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies. Like, that's the way I should have brought this up in my initial discussion. It is. I'm gonna get the poster up here. I got something to say about this. It's very bizarre just how much retconning that's going on with the Tim Story Fantastic Four films and just rose-tinted glasses people have the perception of these movies. Because I remember when these movies came out, people despised these films. People were saying, like, these are really bad adaptations of the Fantastic Four. And then all of a sudden, when this movie comes, people are saying, like, those movies are better than this one. I'm like, I thoroughly disagree for all the reasons that I brought up before. The complete lack of chemistry between Reed and Sue. Jessica Alba with just so much white pancake makeup on her face, blue, lifeless eyes. Yeah, I mean, the only good thing about it being Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis, but there's so much about this film I don't understand. I don't understand when people are like, no, this is great. I think the actor who plays Reed Richards in the Tim Story movies looked bored. Oh, he did. Yeah, he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. She was off in the film. They were always moving her clothes in the movie. Yeah, that was like really embarrassing. If we give Jessica Alba glasses, that will convince me she's smart. Yeah, I never believed. I was like, I don't believe that for a second. The movie was made for kids. I was a kid when that movie came out. Doom was intimidating. He was not intimidating. I have to disagree. But yeah, Silver Surfer in Rise of Silver was good. I admit that. Yeah. Galactus, the fart cloud. Yeah. Derpy Doom is funny. The rest of the film was hard to get through for Roger Corman. Oscar Quinn is a talented actor, outstanding Gladiator too, but I don't think that's it. No, I mean, that was Ridley Scott. The true villain of Gladiator 2 at the end of the day is Ridley Scott. They put Sue in front of those posters because I felt like they were trying to get people in for Jessica's Eye. 100%. 100%. I don't remember her being in the lead in those movies. No. She's like in the background. She doesn't have any... She's just there to look hot and be naked. That's literally it. That's literally it. She serves no other purpose. Like, she doesn't have like a fucking, like, important plot point. She doesn't figure out how to defeat, Galactus or Doctor Doom. Because you've got to add the... I know. I should have included the Incredibles. Comics no Incredibles in this? I know. I probably should have. Sirius Spock says Fantasy 4, 25, 07, 04, 94, and 15 dead last. Nah, I believe that. 100%. After The Dark Knight, where comic movies were trying to be edgy. Yeah, it's true. Like, Dark Knight had this impact where you had, like, all these other adaptations of well-known comic book characters where they're not traditionally very dark. You had that with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Fan Four Stick is a perfect case for that. There are several others too, but yeah, that one I fully agree. Man of Steel. I really liked the thing design in the Roger Corman movie. It would have been cool if the First Steps thing looked more like... I love the First Steps thing because that's like literally Jack Kirby thing. Tim Story movies are they're very cheesy, and not cheesy like in a fun way. Just as like, this is kind of embarrassing. Tim's Story has the benefit of being the first FF film for a lot of people. Sure. So that's the default version they go to. I was a kid when they came out, and I thought they were terrible. I thought they were terrible, too. But even by that point, I was already reading Fantastic. I was like, I don't like this. I'm not surprised nostalgia is hitting, or kids for kids at the time or adults, and this was their film. The same for the Star Wars. Yeah, you're right. Star Wars prequels get the same, 100. It's very similar to Star Wars. Even though I agree they are mediocre or bad. We were children, Chris, at least. I was still enjoying clips on YouTube. I mean, to be honest, I think it was the 2015 film that really made people nostalgic. Sure, fair enough. Like, I think the Tim Story ones are definitely better than Van Forstic. Versus Story was okay at best. The rest of Silver Galactus was the last straw for me, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything I'm good with as long as it's not the 2015 one. Oh, yeah. No, that's dead last for me. Dead last. So, yeah, I don't think a very controversial ranking at all. Maybe Corman's film at number 2, but, yeah. That's my definitive ranking for the Fantastic